But also what was happening was the police in Northern Ireland were all Protestant police. So they picked on the Catholic minority. So you can see where some of this came from. It's never right to be a terrorist.
No,
but if you're downtrodden, you can't get a job, you're treated like rubbish, then you know there's always going to be some form of retaliation. But in the end, I mean, by the time they were setting bombs off and killing children, people down south were saying, no way, we can't go along with this, you know.
Of course not. So what was the view of the IRA, say, in like the early 90s?
The early 90s?
1990s, what was that like? What were they?
Well, the view down south, I mean, you would have had a number of people that supported them that were actually in the IRA as well. But the majority of people just, you know,
Kind of washed their hands.
yeah,
of
we
that.
don't want anything to do with this, you know, indiscriminate bombings and whatever, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
I had a supervisor in my, from 2007 to 2011, I worked for a union shop. My supervisor was the nicest guy, he was 100% Irish. He used to wear a jacket to work. It had the Irish flags, but it had like IRA type symbols, but like in codes, and he said it was his brother's club or somebody who belonged to in Philadelphia, but they raised money to support, and he goes, in the ear he says they're raising the money to ship
the arms over. Yeah. But I mean, it's okay. There's like roughly 40 million Irish Americans. So,
40 million, you say?
Yeah. So, you know,
and there's about another 100 million that think they are.
Yeah. But you know, what's interesting when you trace the roots of anyone, there's documentation from a place called Roundwood in County Wicklow, next to Dublin, of the Presley family, a direct descendant of Elvis Presley.
Right?
Yeah, there's actual documentation, and he had a dispute over land with some locals, and back this is in the 1800s, so back then he could have been shot. So he, rather than fight all these people, he emigrated to the States, and he's actually a direct descendant of Elvis Presley. On the other side of Elvis' family, I think it was Cherokee Indians, you know, and there's some German as well. But yeah, I mean, Barack Obama, so many generations down, Che Guevara, there's so many.
Connection,
Billie Holiday's mother was Sadie O'Grady. Yeah,
I wasn't sure how Irish I was until recently. I was raised, you know, McAvoy, this and that, and my father's family I knew, but my dad was just laid back. He didn't really talk about it as much.
Well, you know, the thing, when you know, especially when you're younger, you don't care about anything like that.
No, but
as you get older, and maybe some of your grandparents have passed away, and you'd really like them to be there.
I became really interested through you too. Like in the early 80s, I was a kid. I was like, "Whoa, I'm Irish." You know, my mom was like, "Oh, you're Irish." So it was like. Then I became proud to be Irish because it was never mentioned before until they put it on the map, sort of. Talking about the problems that I never knew about. I became interested. And I had a grandmother on my mother's side, my mom's mom, Miller, she was Irish, and she was, I remember playing Right on Hum on TV when I was a kid. And the whole rant before Sunday Bloody Sunday about the bombing in the skill, and she walked in and she goes, "Oh, he needs to shut his Irish mouth about that. He doesn't really because I guess Bono at the time was young to her." And I was like, why is she saying that? Like, but her father was, you know, 100% Irish. And then my McAvoy side just got DNA tested, and they're like 93%. So
yeah, you might as well be 100%.
Yeah.
I actually got the DNA thing done. You know the way, because you find out there's a bit of, I don't know, French or English or whatever, so I wanted to find out. So I was 97% Irish, and the 3% was Scottish.
But it's true though, right? This is a question, I don't know for sure. I watch this DNA show sometimes. A lot of people that are Irish live here. You think, oh, you're 100% Irish. You get the DNA test. So there's like different. A friend of mine, this guy's like a lot of Scandinavian blood was in his, and his name is Seamus Higgins, whatever. And he was like, he had like 30% or 40% that was.
Absolutely. That's why I wanted to tell you. I just was curious.
So I'm curious too to see where that would be. Like, yeah.
It's interesting. You know. Yeah, it was dark times. I used to go to the north to set up at a record fair, sell vinyl.
Yeah.
And the first one I went to, the border was there and the British soldiers were there. But I never even considered bringing a passport or identification. I didn't feel I was leaving the country. And when we got there and we had all this vinyl in the back and we had all these blankets over it to sunlight out, so we were stopped and searched.
Yeah.
And so I took off, and I wasn't going particularly fast, but they had these ramps, quite steep ramps. But the colour was the exact same as the road, so I didn't actually really see them. So I was going that little bit too fast for the ramp. There was a big wall up here, and I hit the ramp. And then all these British soldiers with the rifles. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? I also brought up, I bought a collection. The national TV station, RTE here, producer there, sold me his record collection. He was an older man at the time, but it was very much Irish ballads and folk music and rebel songs.
Yeah.
So things like, one of them was called The Men Behind the IRA, and H Block, which was the prison up there.
Yeah.
I thought nothing of it, and I went to Queen's University and I put all these records out. So some people were delighted. They were over, oh yeah, one of this. And others were going by and they were literally going like this to me. And I was like,
one of them mentions that in Battle Home 2-8 during Sunday Bloody Sunday, the hatred of the H block. Did you say that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But it was it was an experience going up there. Another time I went over to see Ireland play Scotland in a, as you call it, soccer, as we call it, football match.
Yeah. I like to call it football.
Yeah.
Nah, just because I'm here. Well, I know the difference, but
you see, the thing that from this side of the water, you have American football, which is mainly played with your hands.
Yeah.
Whereas what you call soccer is actually played with your foot.
Yeah, both of our kids grew up playing football, soccer. Yeah.
So I was going over to sport in Ireland. I was younger. You wouldn't have the money to fly over, so you got the coach up to Belfast, on Tamarin, and then across to Scotland. And it was the height of the Troubles. When we were coming back from Scotland, the Protestant lot had got word that we were coming through, and it was all our flag flying and everything. And as we came through Belfast, every window was put in.
Oh, the tricolour? You had the
flag flying and that. And every window was put in. And there was some staunch Republicans on that trip that nearly wanted to fight. I had appealed to them to take the flags down, because at least we'd see what's coming here.
Yeah.
So I spent that bit of the journey
scary
between the seats, like this, you know. So then as we got further out, the coach was ambushed again, and petrol bombs were thrown out. So the back of the coach caught fire, but luckily they had fire extinguishers. And, you know.
For me, being here as an Irish American and hearing about it and knowing about it, and you come to this place, and it's so gorgeous, so beautiful, everybody's so friendly, and I just can't imagine that any of that's possible. Yeah. When it's Protestants and Catholics, there's kind of like in America, it's.
But look, it goes way back when.
But it's more of like a government thing with the British colonialism. Something like that.
We had chieftains in different regions here, like kings of
way back.
And Belfast had the main chieftain. So when the English took over, they pushed them out, and they moved in Protestant people to take this land. It was quite fertile, it was good, there was a port, whatever.
Yeah.
So they set them in there and took over the land. Also,
from England, Northern Ireland to Scotland, or the connection.
So they were Scottish Protestants, they moved.
Right.
But they also, it was illegal to speak our language. And if you were caught speaking our
Gaelic?
language, you were home language.
Is that why they don't speak it as much anymore?
Yeah.
Because I've heard Bono speak about it, he said by the time he was in school.
Yeah, that's been playing.
Is this the Mary J. Blige?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I like that version.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, it is. There are so, New York is so
But yeah, it was a criminal offence to speak Irish in Ireland. The Crown said so. If you were caught speaking a few words, they took out a rope and hung you on the spot.
British.
That's why the Irish language sort of died out.
That's why you see it in word times. But
So then, during World War II, obviously the British Army were occupied with other matters. So what they done was they released prisoners. They gave them uniforms. It was a black and tan colour, so they were called the black and tans. So they sent them over to keep control of the Irish. So these black and tan guys basically murdered people, raped people. My own grandmother was actually raped. So when people say forget about it, it's only a generation or so away. You know?
It's like America with slavery.
Absolutely, yeah.
And people are like, people my age, don't even talk about that. I'm like, dude, our parents drank out different water fountains.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So it's you have to remember, you can't start fighting someone now.
Over something yesterday, but
there's so many English people that I'm friends with that when something comes up on this matter, they say, come on, sure, that doesn't matter anymore, you know, forget about it.
That's what, I
mean, there were many sick jokes along the way. One was, what do you call a dead British soldier? A start. So you look, modern day English people, they don't get taught this history in England, so they know absolutely nothing about it.
And it's happening now in our country. They're trying to whitewash. In America right now, there are a lot of Republican politicians are trying to ban certain books and stop teaching things in school. So
look at Trump at the moment. If he issues a statement, if he's convicted, war is going to break out. So he's roiling the troops, you know.
It's disgusting.
And he owns a bloody golf course and hotel over here. You know? And in that particular region, they all love him because he's given employment to their family for a couple of generations.
And they think it's all he's a grifter.
I mean, I remember some late night TV here we used to get before he was even involved in politics. We got that American Apprentice show, and I remember thinking, geez, I don't like that guy. And that was back then.
He's never been good, and he doesn't care. He doesn't care about. He speaks to a population in our country that has these feelings that from a generation or two ago that he knows will vote for him. And I've had friends that never would say these things, and as soon as he became popular and the whole Trump thing, the flag, they all started saying, build a wall.
People the freedom to be outspoken in their racism. Unreal. He was so detested here by the majority. Now, I'm not saying, look, I mean, in politics, I'm sure a lot of people start out when they're young and they really want to do the right thing. You just don't get anywhere unless you play the game to some degree.
He's a narcissist. He's got something's wrong with him.
Absolutely, You know, and then you have the type of person that's, you know, he done okay for the economy while he was there, so they're prepared to say, well, he's done okay there, so it doesn't matter that he trades his wife in. She's reached 30.
But he didn't do anything for our economy. Biden right now is doing everything, the job and everything's infrastructure's finally built up, everything's coming along. That
he probably created the phrase fake news, you know. But he's well able to give it out there. To everyone else, you know.
He made people think trusted news was fake.
Yeah.
And they're all watching this Fox News or Newsmax, these alternative, crazy, like, fascist, right-wing, like...
Yeah. And then it was no coincidence. I mean, Boris Johnson becomes Prime Minister in Italy of a similar mind thought.
Yep.
The Austrian president at the time was ultra right-wing, and he gets in. So it was happening
Several years before Trump even ran, I worked with a lot of foreign guys, like from Croatia, Bosnia, Poland, and the one Polish guy came to work. He was all upset. He said, "I'm like, are you okay?" He goes, fascism's starting to break ground again in Poland right now. Watch out, watch out. And then when Trump started running, he's like, that's the guy.
He gave advice there.
Yeah. And it's just contagious because people want to close their borders and look at World War One, World War Two. Look at
well, the whole Eastern Europe is always a place where things can go off.
Breeding ground for war. They've been fighting for centuries. Yeah, like Russia and Ukraine right now.
Very, very tough people.
Yeah.
Look at the Ukrainians.
They'll fight forever if they have to.
And not alone that, the majority of these guys are very, very tall and built like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Like Vladimir Klitschko, the fighter. It's like, they're like...
The only one that's not is the president of Ukraine, Zelensky. He's tiny.
But I, as an American, I'm like, he could have went somewhere safe, did this, whatever, and he's there. And I'm like, he's there. He goes to the front lines. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's got massive
And he was a stand-up comedian.
Yes.
You know, and 2 years before the war, he played in a small club in Galway.
Yeah.
You know, this is crazy.